your material will be so riveting that eventually all of the people in the audience will be looking at you as well.
Okay, good. Some other interesting ones as we are approaching. I mean, the time is nearing, going to be over. Let me just quickly read a few of the questions. How should we announce the break? And how should we announce the break and begin after the break?
Well, I don't think you really have to overthink that. I think you need to let one portion of the presentation come to a natural conclusion, and then you simply deliver very, very explicit marching orders. You say, we're going to take a 10-minute break now, and we really do need to begin again at 10:55 sharp. I would ask that you all please be back in your seats here precisely at 10:55. Thank you. And then when you begin again, try to employ another device that will immediately grab the audience's attention. You know, if people go away for 10 minutes and they've made a couple of phone calls or they've had a cup of coffee or something like that, it may be difficult for them to focus immediately again on where you're headed next in the presentation. So if once again you can begin that portion of the presentation with something really arresting that grabs their attention the way you did at the very beginning, that's always a smart thing to do.
Yeah, just to supplement, recently, and one of the speakers in Madinah, he used to play a short video clip, a very funny clip when people used to return after the break, and it used to give them a little boost of laugh and engage all of them simultaneously. Another interesting...
Yes, you know, and Ali, on that point, yeah, business and government are extremely serious, obviously.
Yeah.
But with that in mind, appropriate uses of humor are very, very useful in presentation contexts. Keeping the audience relaxed and permitting them to enjoy themselves while they're learning and while they're being influenced is a very, very desirable approach.
Absolutely. Another interesting one, Mr. Johnny wrote, I have heard about a pill to help with stage fright. Is it safe to take such pills, Bill?
Well, once again, I'm not a physician, but I have heard that there's a type of medication called beta blockers that I believe is a heart medication that some people under a doctor's orders or with a doctor's guidance sometimes take if they really are absolutely petrified, if they really, really suffer from severe performance anxiety, stage fright. But I hesitate to even say that because I'm not a pharmacological expert, and so that's something that you probably need to discuss with your own doctor. Most of the people we work with who don't suffer from this sort of paralyzing stage fright can be greatly helped by the tools that I mentioned before.
Okay. Some folks are also appreciating, and then there's time for us to break. So, but let me just conclude with one last question by Brother Abdullah Farad. What is the maximum time for each slide?
Excellent question. Brother Abdullah, there is a myth out there that says that in a given presentation you should not use more than a given number of slides. I completely disagree with that. I think that you need to use as many slides as you need. And what I mean is that if you try to cram all of your information into, I mean, I've heard before that, I've heard some people say that, well, with a 20-minute presentation, you should have no more than 10 slides or no more than 20 slides, for example. Again, I think that that's very, very dangerous because that forces you to cram way too much information onto each individual slide, and therefore the slides become crowded and messy and unreadable. I think, in my 40-minute presentation that I just delivered, I used about 75 slides, and the trick is to keep each individual slide visually appealing and simple, and just move briskly between the slides. What you should pay attention to is the length of the presentation itself. Does my presentation require a length of, let's say, 15 minutes or 20 minutes, and then once you determine that and write your narrative that's 15 or 20 minutes long, then you create as many slides as you need to help you tell the story clearly.
Okay. There are some few who are assisting me to ask this question. So, what should I do if I made the presentation and my manager is going to present it? Do I have to be close to him to clarify? This is a typical question, perhaps more from the culture aspect on this part.
Yes, no, if I understand your question correctly, often a particular department or division or team will have a standard presentation that all of them need to deliver individually in different situations. And so, once again, time permitting, I would simply urge you to have that individual, whether it's your boss or someone else, to spend time with the presentation and do things to that presentation to make it his own. In other words, if the presentation needs to be tailored so that the introduction of the presentation is more in keeping with the boss's presenting style, while keeping the middle of the presentation more or less standard. As I said before, it's often difficult to find time to sort of customize and tailor a common presentation. But to the extent that that's possible, I would strongly urge that. And then the second part of your question, when you say, should I stay close to my boss, what do you mean? You mean physically be there when the boss delivers the presentation?
Well, let's proceed in the chat box. Yes, you just replied.
Well, that's a difficult question for me to answer for you because it depends upon the situation. In other words, because of what the boss is presenting and what the audience may be, it may not be appropriate for you as one of the boss's team members to be there in the room. I would think in most situations it wouldn't do any harm to have you present, but that's kind of a complicated case-by-case kind of question. Once again, if you'd like to ask me further about it offline, please feel free to email me.
Okay.
Presentation or
on behalf of Mal for his time and willingness to share valuable information and experiences with our participants. Also, thanks to all of you who participated. We're glad you could join us and hope the session was helpful for you. We will be emailing you the link to a recorded version of this webinar in a couple of days once it is uploaded on our blog and YouTube channel. Just a quick note before we conclude. Please be informed that our other upcoming high-impact programs in the year 2012, especially on high-performance governance, HPG2, are currently accepting applications for enrollment and selection. Mr. Bill Connor will also be coming to Medina for this program to conduct exclusively one-on-one sessions with participants of the program. So please do visit our website, www.mile.org, to get more details about these programs and our upcoming webinars. So thank you again, all of you, and especially Mr. Bill Connor, for your time, and I hope you all have enjoyed the rest of your day.